Very tough feeling in that locker room right now. This team was really one of one in my mind as far as the feeling that's in there right now, the brotherhood. This team truly did a lot of special things this year, but we didn't play well enough to win the football game. And first and always, I know I've got to be better for our team. I've got 100% confidence in our players, our coaches. We've got the right kind of things going on in this organization, but we've got to find a way to play better as a team, complement each other, and do the things we need to do to win games against the class of the NFL. And that's what we're going to go back to work and do. I love this organization. I love those players more than anything. And I just appreciate everything about those guys and what they mean to me. They're a part of me, and they all know that. But that only gets you so far. You got to play to a certain standard, and we did not do that. Way too many negatives on offense, missed opportunities, and things that we could all do better. And that's what we're going to go back to work and do. It's obviously very fresh right now for a team that, from the moment I stood before them in training camp to right now, all they've ever done is be the exact team you want as a head coach. And I'm very, very fortunate to have this group and feel very blessed to be able to stand before them. Back to work we go. But this stings. I know it stings for our fans. It hurts. And we've got to use this as fuel moving forward, but at the same time understand the special group we had and acknowledge it and make sure we're aware of how we move forward, trying to build upon this team into next year.
So many sacks. Did you think it was Sam holding the ball? It was difficulty with pressure.
Yeah, I thought we gave up some pressure. A couple of those there where they were able to scheme up a guy here or there that on paper you have accounted for, but it doesn't matter on paper. And then I did think, there were some other times where, we're not going to be able to win the game on one play, and me included. But there was just some plays there that if we go back and look at it, I'm sure, everybody in that room will acknowledge a play here or there, and just far too many negatives really over the last 2 weeks, just too many negative plays that set you behind. And in a game like that, you've got to find a way to sustain a little bit more forward momentum and still try to have your playmakers make plays, give Sam the chance to put the ball in play. We just got to find a way to eliminate some of those negatives, because that's never going to be a formula for any kind of success, regardless of if it's January or not. Just not a formula to win.
Kevin, there's a lot of things that go into it, but just broadly, what do you think happened to Sam these past 2 weeks?
I think it's important that we look at it really two ways. Football-wise, playing the position of quarterback, areas that we can really focus on to improve, areas as an offense where we can pick our quarterback up with a little bit of execution, give him another click when it is a four-man rush, whatever it is. We've got to find a way to look at it from that standpoint. But also, I just want to say, I think it's very important we all think about, Sam's body of work, what he was able to do this year, when not very many people thought he would be able to lead a team to 14 wins. Very rare for a quarterback in their first year. In fact, it is rare, the most wins by a first-year quarterback with a team. And just the way he came in, committed himself to just a daily process to be the best version of himself. It did not work out in the end, and I think Sam would be the first one to tell you. Could he have played better tonight? I'm sure he would tell you that he could have. Could I have coached better? I promise you I could have. Could our team have rallied around a play here or there to try to keep that thing competitive? For sure. But the other phase of it for Sam is acknowledging the things that made him a winning quarterback this year, and the consistency at the times he had it throughout the year, and what that meant for our team, because I think that can stay with him moving forward as he goes back to work. Proud of him, proud of really everybody in that locker room, but Sam and the journey him and I went on this year will always be a something that's a special place in my heart for sure.
How much did you feel like him holding the ball had to do with the pressure?
Yeah, I think, Ben, there's just times where no matter how much you believe in the scheme and how much you believe in things, especially when, sometimes you're calling quick game and if they take away your first throw, there's completions to be had. If you've got to find a way to check the ball down and just keep moving the ball forward, completions have negative effects on defenses. They just do. And those moments where you're holding that ball and your reaction is to try to make a play, we can't talk out of both sides of our mouth because he sure as heck made a lot of plays doing that this year. But I think that's part of the growth. Remember, this guy's 27 years old or whatever he is, and I think he has a foundation now of both the things you do at the quarterback position to have success and the things that sometimes you have to learn the hard way. You talk to some of the greatest players that ever played the game at that position, and they all had learning moments throughout their journey. And I think Sam will take a lot of positive out of this year, and I think he'll look, like we all will, very much, inward and what's the next step, what's the next phase for him to find that consistency. And, I'm going to do the same thing. And I still feel there's so many ways I could be better for this team. So fortunate to have this group, this coaching staff, and that's what we're going to do, Ben.
Kevin, you talked a lot all year about rhythm, timing, feet and eyes, and how those all operate together. How much does the type of pressure that he saw tonight and last week affect, trusting that rhythm and timing?
It's the number one deterrent for it because, I think there were some examples where when you go back and watch the tape and you're in an air-conditioned room tomorrow, it's going to feel like, man, why didn't I just do this or that? But it's hard in the moment. It's hard with how fast things happen out there, and it's all part of it. And I think Sam, showed us all in real time he could make, adjustments throughout the season to find that consistency. We just didn't do that over these last 2 weeks, and that's a we thing. That's all of us.
How close do you think this franchise is to a championship level?
Yeah, well, what I would tell you is when you have the makeup of players that are smart, tough, love football, love being great teammates, you have the feeling that exists in that locker room right now. That's the foundation. We've got to find a way to match that foundation with our performance across the board as a team and a coaching staff. And like I said, it starts with me. I think the important parts of building this organization to where we want to get to is acknowledging these moments and feeling these moments, but also never underestimating the power of the way we do things and why we do things the way we do, and then understanding that is a foundation of rock that we can build upon as we continue to improve and improve our team, improve the way we coach our team, and I'm sure as heck going to be excited, to get right back at it with this group.
Kevin, to compete and beat these elite teams in these big games, where would you put improving the offensive line in this offseason?
Yeah, there's no question. We've got to find a way to be able to give a quarterback, especially with players like Justin, Jordan, TJ. We've got to find a way to solidify just the interior of the pocket, starting first and foremost. And there can be 1,000 excuses made, whether it's losing CD or even midway through the game losing BO tonight. But for me, it's the foundation of the interior of the pocket that we're going to have to take a long look at. I thought those guys battled. That's a good, young, fast, athletic front. But really, when you look at it over the course of the entirety of the season, we lost to 2 football teams, and both of them were able to do some similar things against us. Via pressure, via some 4-down pressure, non-pressure, non-blitz pressure. And we just weren't able to ever find that rhythm, find those 2 or 3 plays that can kind of, take a little bit of the steam out of what they're doing and sustain a little bit. And that's a lot of different things, Mark. That's a lot of things that we're going to take a look at and find ways to, win the games we did and acknowledge the things we did well in those games throughout the year. But there's no question that to get to where we want to get to, where our fans deserve for us to go to, as we got the greatest fans in the National Football League, and we we've got to find a way to host games at US Bank Stadium, have our home environment, and put the kind of performance together in these moments that allows you to keep playing in the single elimination tournament.
Kevin, the fumble by Sam that got returned for a touchdown. Is that an example of trying to do too much?
It's that's probably one that comes to mind. It's one of those things where, like I said, it's you have to be very careful with the quarterback position, talking out of both sides of your mouth. All those plays that he does make off schedule. A lot of guys around the league can make those plays, but there is a level of understanding the situation. Hey, we can't allow such a game-changing play to happen. I've got to acknowledge it with the play call, making sure that we consistently just have multiple eligibles for them, while also having a pressure plan and making sure we're taking care of the matchups that maybe we aren't having the best of days against. And when you think about losing to two teams, really a combined 4 times, they had a matchup on us wherever it was, and they were able to expose that enough to beat us 4 times when you look at the 2 teams we lost to this year. And that's where, I've got to do a better job finding ways to mitigate that, but also our players will be the first one to tell you that there'll be a total toe of the line of us all together as we attack this thing.
What was the explanation for the fumble return for touchdown that they turned over? Did they tell you?
Yeah, they just said that 17 was in the area, and it was an incomplete pass. I know that quarterback pretty well, and know when he's trying to throw it to somebody and when he's not. But that was the explanation I got, and we had to just keep playing.
Why did you think there was so much space for Stafford on those first couple drives, just kind of attacking coverage? I guess probably some of those blitzes.
Yeah, they found some similar spots there with some drive starter kind of plays, and that's the thing with Matthew. I mean, we'll go back and watch the tape, and on some of those explosives, there's going to be a Viking within a step of him, and his willingness to stand in there, even versus some of those free runners, and put the ball up, and they were coming down with a lot of those, with a lot of, whether it was Higbee's catch, Cooper's catch, Puka was finding, and Robinson. I mean, I loved the aggressive nature at which we tried to play the game, kind of looking back on the previous matchup and playing true to our style, and they just made some plays against it, and that's what's gonna happen when you're playing against Matthew Stafford. Like I said, I know that guy pretty well, and he made some plays, and those are when, as an offense, you've got to go out and try to respond and try to make a few, and got to give our guys better plays and try to find a way to be consistent and put the ball in the end zone and show our defense and our special teams that we can respond in those moments, and that's when the negative plays just kind of was a weight on our whole football team.
How does I know it's very raw right now, but as you walk off the field, how does a 14-win season that ends with these past 2 weeks kind of?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important. It's important, Kevin, that we acknowledge and really take a true centered focus into the why, and that's what we do as coaches. And you hate it more than anything for your team. For the looks, the look in the eye of this group all year long. Every time I spoke with them, every time I was fortunate enough to stand before them, you certainly have such a strong desire to do absolutely anything to make these guys not feel that, and for us all to feel it. But I think it's important. We got to take a look at what we did throughout the season to make us a good football team. What were our weaknesses as a team? Throughout the year, not just over these last 2 weeks, and acknowledge all those things and craft a path moving forward where we do everything we can to eliminate some of those things that hurt our football team. And like you guys know, I'm going to spend every waking moment doing it, and I've got such belief in the core of that locker room and the team that we had this year. We've got to go back to work and build it all from scratch again with next year's team, and make sure we stay true to who and what we want to be as an organization as we continue to chase improvement.
Last one. Kevin, just you mean kind of similar line of questioning here, but you have the 2 seasons with 13 wins and 14 wins, and then you both those end with one and done in the playoffs.
Yep.
What is the disconnect between being able to win regular season games and then being able to turn it over and do it in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think 2 out of 3 years we've done the things that we wanted to do to get into the tournament. Last year I thought we overcame a lot and did not do enough in the end to get into the tournament. But these are one-game, eliminations. And if you don't find a way to play well in those 60 minutes against the type of teams you're going to play in January, Ben, you're going to lose. So I think, it's very, very I understand the question, and I appreciate the question and the big picture thought process of the results driving that question. But what I've got to do is make sure that I continue to reinforce the process we have here, the teams we've built up from the inside out of that locker room being the strongest point of our organization. And then when it comes time to make sure we're improving in the areas we need to, we're ready to do that against the best teams in this league to continue to play on in the month of January. But that's how I feel about that. Thank you.